Okay. Hello, everyone. Everyone here. Jolly good. Fit and able, ready to listen to today's episode of Get a Better Broadcast Podcast and Voice Over Voice. Oh, there's the bird, the Twitter bird that prompts me to say, you can find me on Twitter where I'm Tweeter Stewart, TWWETERSTEWART. This is today's episode of Get a Better Broadcast Podcast and Voice Over Voice, your pocket-sized podcasts on the journey to doing just that. We help you get what the name of the podcast is all about. I'm not going to say it again because that's a little bit overkill. Thank you for the loan of your ears today. We're talking about symptoms and prescriptions for problems with your voice or presentation style. Today, filler words, verbal tics in conversation, links and ad-libs. Include words like, well, what do you think some of the filler words might be? Let me think about that. So, do you reckon you know what some are? Yeah? Like, I think I might, you know what I mean? Because they could be words like that kind of thing. I did a whole load there, didn't I? What is the prescription? Well, this is the prescription for you. Record and listen back to identify the use of and regularity of these words. Some may be okay, but too much could be a little bit kind of grating on the listener. Yeah? Prepare your notes better so you know what you want to say and how you're going to end your thought. Now, this is really, really interesting because what a lot of people might do, particularly in the DJ world, and my background, I've done an awful lot of radio presentation, both in non-scripted speech programming and also as a music DJ, as a music presenter as well. Psst, in one time slot, I quadrupled the audience. But enough about that. Very often, it helps to write down even the shortest link. Because if you write down that you're going to be talking about, funny story about the cat up the tree. Doesn't sound that funny, but bear with me. Just an idea off the top of my head. You may know the story that happened because you were there when it happened. You're going to be talking from the heart, your own experiences. You know what happened. So you can talk very fluently, very amusingly about the cat up the tree. But once you have told the story, you've got to know where to go at the end of it. What happens next? Where are you going to go? What are you going to say? What button are you going to press? Very often, to this day, I still hear presenters who mumble and stumble their way through the end of a story. They've reached the punchline, but they don't know what to do or say next. Always write down what you're going to do as the payoff of an ad-lib, and also what happens next. Yeah? So prepare your notes better. What you're going to say and what you're going to say when you've said it. Adding some of this kind of planned structure to what you'll say to keep it conversational and to make it more listenable as well. If I may, if you'll indulge me for a split second, I've written a few books. You'll find me. I've got an Amazon author page. And one of my books called Essential Radio Skills, which is essentially for, if you excuse the pun, radio presenters, radio producers, radio journalists and reporters, broadcasters in general, but specifically for radio, goes through this kind of thing in a bit more detail about how you can have a structured break, a structured link. Not writing it down word for word, because, as I say, cat up a tree story, that's fine. I've experienced it, happened a few hours ago, I'm going to do it. Not a problem at all. But you've got to be quite skilled, quite experienced, and concentrate quite a bit to be able to know what to say once you've said your funny bit. Here's another tip. Relaxation, proper breathing, a judicious use of the pause will create a calmer, more decisive mind when you start speaking, and so add to the fluency of what it is you are speaking about. More tips on this, episode 637 onwards. That's my prescription, written in a very poor doctor's handwriting on my pad, which I'm now handing over to you. And tomorrow, I'm going to hand over to you another episode of Get a Better Broadcast Podcast and Voice Over Voice. We're talking about the forced pitch voice. The forced pitch voice. Unnatural pitches is what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. And I'm not talking about a sports field which is on a slope. As Get a Better Broadcast podcast and Voice Over Voice continues. From London. I didn't write that down. I'm Peter Stewart.